I was kind of hesitant to start off with like how to approach this space, which had some fairly definite features which you had to work with. But I kind of took that as, you know, the sort of limitations as a positive, really, and thought, well, I can utilise this as a chance to kind of work with and display my work in a completely sort of different way. So I felt this kind of, you know, it was an office, and there's a lot of kind of sort of straight lines. It's got panelled walls and again the ceiling tiles, and I kind of felt like taking on this sort of office role, the idea of kind of an archival sort of space, so to present as different elements of my work. The ship, you know, it's sort of sailing into the sunset. It's kind of this sort of romantic ideals, and they all are. Yeah, it's this very, for me, it's kind of aspirational. I think that there is a sort of comment on this kind of culture. It's sort of all kind of comes off this can-do sort of culture. We're all sold this kind of dream that we can be sort of anything we want to be. Like, you know, you've got hundreds, thousands of kids growing up thinking they can be astronauts, but like, you know, it's kind of ridiculous because, you know, these sort of chances are kind of so few and far between. But it's almost the hope that you kind of cling to with them, which is important. It's not so much about, you know, it's not so much about wanting to be an astronaut, but it's like the idea that you can be, and it's a very aspirational kind of sort of feeling I'm getting at, and I think it's a really important this sort of big thinking, and this kind of, you know, we can do anything when we set our minds to it. Whether we do or not, you know, isn't the kind of question I'm asking. It's just it's sort of latching on to this feeling. The things I'm dealing with are in essence impossible, because, like, you know, I'm not going to be able to get on a galaxy travelling starship, you know, no matter how much, you know, I'd like to, or it's just not possible. And again, like, you know, I mean, obviously you could go on a sailing ship, but that more captures a kind of time and a sort of. So I think they're kind of. I think I'm looking at, with this show anyway, I think I'm looking at more so the truly aspirational things that are kind of impossible anymore, in the sense of things past, and impossible at the moment in the sense of things technology wise, and that we're just not there. And
a voyage into the unknown, wasn't it? An adventure.
Yeah, I think, because, yeah, I mean, you could look at, I mean, the kind of links back to the Cousteau sort of ideas is, you know, everywhere's sort of been explored, and, you know, there are very little sort of things to do in this kind of epic and grand sense anymore. And I think that, you know, and if you do, say, if you climbed a mountain, you're just stepping where other people have been before, so it kind of loses that sort of kind of intangible edge, which I think is something I'm trying to sort of bring forth with the work. For when I was doing the painting of the spacecraft, I needed a lot of sort of reference images to kind of, there was a real attempt to kind of capture that sort of sense and work out what it was about the kind of images that captured that certain era and that time. So I had a very large collection of sort of paperback novels, and when I was thinking of a title for the show, I perused my shelf, and stumbled upon the Edmund Cooper novel A Far Sunset, and I just think, as far as the title goes, it works really well, because it alludes to something that you can see, but, you know, you can never reach. The Earth is constantly spinning. The sunset is never actually, it never sets, in essence, because it's, you know, it's always continually. So, and I think it kind of works really well with the show, and I think it works even better in hindsight, because when I sort of chose it, I wasn't quite sure, but I think it does work, and it recalls that kind of romantic notions as well, which I think is really important. And it's kind of a bit twee and a bit, but I think, again, it's kind of this sort of aspirational thing.
The sun never sets except for the people where they are.